my neighborhood too. But like, it's kind of like that. But these things like fly. It's like
They float up and land on people's roofs.
land on shit. You know, like they just keep going. Whatever.
What are those
It's kinda
paper
hard
bag
for
things
those
called?
bags on the sidewalk to light somebody's roof on fire.
Right.
Can't remember.
What did you say?
What are those bags called with the little candles in them that line the sidewalks?
We used to go around lighting bags of shit.
Oh, man. That's called something else.
Bago candle.
It's a good.
He called the shit poo.
Shit
Oh,
poo.
the shit.
Anyway, so I haven't heard any fireworks yet, fortunately.
What?
No.
Where you're at?
Fortunately,
Yeah.
How far are you from
Kyle,
the
Yeah,
city?
Kyle, you
Kyle
don't
lives in a gated community.
you don't like fireworks?
Huh? No, I haven't heard any.
No, I said you don't like them
No, I like them. They're fine.
because you said fortunately. You said I haven't heard any fireworks yet.
It gets
Fortunately,
annoying if you're hearing fireworks every night when it's like late at night. You're trying to sleep and people are shooting fireworks off.
are you
Plus,
like
if you
oh man?
can't
Are you
see
like
them.
oh man, guys? This is illegal. I can't get an erection.
No, they don't bother me that much. But I mean, they could bother me that much if it was like every day right next to my house.
It is a little bothersome. Plus, I can't even see them half the time. So like I can just hear them. What's the point?
Dude, stand on a phone book, Jared.
Touche. Touche.
Man, I don't know. Okay, so like my wife, like fireworks, like really annoy her, right? And
Wow.
but I've always loved fireworks, so I've like always got a stash and stuff, and remember like was that on like the 4th of July one year when Alex came over with some like what was that, dry ice, and he stuck it inside like a 2-liter bottle?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
And
Oh yeah. Well, no, that was like during a
Roman
podcast.
candles.
That was like after a podcast, and you like threw it into the street, right? And it
Yeah.
almost like blew up someone's car.
Yeah. Yeah, that's when I worked for this welding company for a while, and it's like, like dry ice, you just throw it in like a 2-liter bottle or whatever, and it expands, and it's just like, dude, it's loud as fuck.
Oh yeah,
Like
dude.
When it
bomb
blows
going off.
up. Yeah. So wait, should we be talking about this on the podcast?
What are you talking about?
I don't
Like,
think there was any
sticking-
actual
sticking-
damage.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
dry
We
ice.
stuck dry ice inside of a 2-liter. Ooh,
Yeah. Well, no,
But-
we're like discussing how to make dry ice bombs on a podcast
Well,
here
I mean-
on like a
You're a regular Unabomber.
Okay, well, it makes a
fucking
really
Ed
loud.
Kaczynski up in here.
Well, yeah, like it makes a really loud noise. You just want to stay away from it, definitely, But yeah, I don't know. That was fucking crazy loud, dude. That was so fucking loud. Oh man.
I remember that.
Is it a bottle
Didn't
of
Joe
soda?
like yell at all of us for that?
Oh
that?
yeah.
It's a bottle of a 2-liter full of soda.
Yeah, well, you do that, or you just take an empty one. You just drop the dry ice like pellet in the 2-liter, put a little water in there, and just like close the top, Kyle.
Yeah.
And then like the nitrogen, like, because it basically it's basically like solid CO2. So it like expands. It just like increases in temperature, and it just like yeah. I don't know, dude. I failed
it pop
chemistry.
the bottle, or
I
does
failed
it pop the
chemistry
lid
in
off?
11th grade.
Dude, it
But
explodes
dude,
the whole
it
fucking
explodes
bottle.
everything. Like basically, it just like the change in temperature, it just expands the bottle to the point where it just explodes.
Wow.
It's
So-
basic
That's a
physics,
very
Kyle.
informative podcast.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, also,
Dude,
you can find the Anarchist cookbook link in the comments.
On
Yeah.
Amazon for
In the
19
Dude, it's
show
like-
notes.
It was like some Mr. Wizard shit when you fuck around with dry ice. Yeah. So
I'm gonna have to watch a YouTube video to check this out.
Oh, boy.
yeah.
Yeah, you can do the same thing with Mentos and fucking soda. Just drop it in there, close the top.
Yeah.
I've seen those where they like
Yeah.
it like launches the bottle, you know.
I remember seeing that on like Mythbusters back in the day.
Or yeah, like well, I never did it in an actual weld shop, but some guys that I've worked with in years past say, yeah, we would do it, kind of fuck with new employees. And I've seen videos, but basically you take like a balloon and then you fill it with acetylene. So the acetylene, it's flammable, but it's a gas, and it like fills the balloon. but then you just take the balloon and you just like throw it over where they're welding, you know? So any spark that hits the balloon just hits the flammable gas in the balloon. It just fucking boom, just blows up.
While they're welding?
So
Jesus,
picture
dude.
some dickhead fucking welding with their hood down, like concentrating, like trying to like weld.
Trying to like do their job.
yeah, trying to do their job. And next thing you know, there's like a loud fucking, dude, it's fucked up because it's a fucked up prank. Like, I'm like, yeah,
Damn,
I know
dude.
I can do it. I just don't do it.
Dude, that's like me,
fucked
like
up.
bringing like a tennis ball full of match heads to the office and like throwing it at somebody.
Ain't nothing like a good fireball in your face.
But yeah, no. But anyways, yeah. So
That's funny.
Good
So,
times.
Good
there
times.
we go. So hey, see, that's what punk rock libertarian's all about. Learning new things.
That's right.
We're all about learning.
This is an educational podcast.
Yes.
That's how it's listed on iTunes.
Well, it's more educational than Bill Nye, that's for sure.
So,
Number 87 in education, right?
Yes. Number 87, education.
So,
Even worse than comedy.
shit.
All
Yeah,
right.
but I've been noticing the fireworks in my neighborhood too. So yeah, it's definitely, I don't know. I think it's just boredom. Honestly, I
Yeah.
think it's like a lot of people are just bored, that pent up energy, and there's so much access to fireworks because of these stupid laws, and yeah, it's just happening. So, but I don't give a shit because, like, honestly, when I have the AC on in my house, I rarely hear anything outside of my house. I don't give a shit.
At this point, I've just gotten used to it.
Yeah, that too. I just
Like
block
it doesn't
out.
even like it doesn't even like keep me up.
Yeah. So
It's funny.
Yep, I don't care. As long as you don't light my house on fire, I don't give a shit.
Yeah, true.
Don't light my house
Yeah.
on fire, because then we're gonna have problems.
Like, you know, like I always really enjoy fireworks just because like I hate the state so much and fireworks are illegal. So it gives me faith in humanity to hear those noises and to know that people are just like directly defying the state.
Right.
You know, it warms my soul.
They're rebelling.
You know,
Such-
like
yeah, they are. It is a little bit rebellious in that sense, isn't it? Because it's against the law and everything. And
yeah,
I
I mean, it would be like hearing a little young child say, "Fuck you, Kyle Wagner."
mhm. And I think those laws exist because because of the noise. The noise is annoying to people.
And
You know, it's
annoying
disturbing to
the
animals.
Karens, really. The Karens don't like it at all.
Yeah, you're waking up
Because the
babies.
dumbasses blowing their hands off. Like, who is that professional football player?
Yeah.
Oh,
Well,
the guy in the
three-
Giants.
Jason Pierre-Paul.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't really feel too bad for the
still
people
kicked
that are
ass
actually
after that, though.
using the fireworks incorrectly and that hurt themselves. But I feel bad for innocent victims if somebody gets hurt by a firework, shrapnel or
Yeah.
something like that, or
Yeah,
they're,
you
Dude,
they're
shot
shrapnel?
point blank and with a
Mhm.
fucking Roman candle.
They're fireworks, not fucking hand grenades. Kyle.
I don't know, man. Depends.
Dude, they
Depends on the size of the fireworks, right?
I don't know. Hold
Yeah.
an M80 in your hand closed like this and light it and tell me it ain't a grenade at that point.
That reminds me of a Joe Jorgensen meme I saw. So somebody asked her what she thought about people owning military grade weapons, and she said she thinks that citizens should be able to own any kind of weaponry that the military can own.
So, like, do we know that was like? I saw that meme too. Do we know that was like a real tweet or whatever, or was it?
Yeah, it looked
I mean,
like it
I
was like
saw-
a text message.
Yeah, it did. Okay, everybody did
I
see
think
it
it was
then.
a Facebook message.
It was a Facebook message, and I think I saw it posted by the original guy. So I mean,
I did too. Allegedly, this was the original guy.
yeah,
What if it was just like Spike? What if it was just like Spike just grabbed Joe's phone and was just like typing whatever?
I would doubt that. It
Right.
could have been whoever manages her social
you call-
media, or
Either
it could have
way,
been. It
was-
could have been
It was definitely
her.
awesome. It was definitely awesome.
Yeah, either
dude.
way.
It's-
Yeah,
It's,
because
you know,
it was
'cause-
the question was if he asked, "Do you think can I be able to own an Abrams tank?"
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
what he asked.
Well, you know, like right now, like I've got a buddy, right, who like this is probably like 2 or 3 months ago. He like took his course to get his HQLs. The HQL is this like license you have to get in Maryland before you can purchase a pistol, right? And like he still hasn't been approved. You know, like, what if this was like some chick who's like ex-boyfriend is like trying to kill her because he's like a fucking psycho, right?
Right.
And she needed a gun to like defend herself, you know? And I mean, she could be dead by the time she's approved.
Right.
Yeah.
It's fucking
And
crazy.
that just,
then
and
on
that just
top of that,
approves you to purchase.
well, yeah, and on top of that, you have to find the time to take the course. You have to pay for the course. Like, and when all said and done, after you paid for everything, it ends up costing like a couple $100 just to get your little permission slip to exercise your constitutional right.
Your human right.
It's the same exact
natural
thing
right,
here
yeah.
in Jersey. It's the same exact thing here in Jersey. There's so many hoops to jump through, so much money you have to fucking dump into it. Just for a piece of paper that gives you the crown's permission. It's fucking insane.
Don't ask permission. Just
free men
no
don't
need to-
ask for permission.
Don't ask permission when you could just 3D print the guns.
Like at
Or
the same
just
time,
go
at the
buy
same time,
one off the street for fucking next to nothing.
well,
Yeah.
but like the fucked up thing with that is, you know, you could, what is that like? Is that like a 5-year mandatory minimum or something? Like, I don't know.
If you get
Depending
caught
on
with
the
an illegal
state,
gun.
depending on the state, yeah, basically. And
Yeah,
if
I
you
mean-
get caught with
okay,
drugs,
so-
too,
I think
then
it's even
dangerous.
worse in like Baltimore City. I
Yeah,
think in
so
Baltimore
like-
City they'll add on time.
Right. So what if you get like Duncan Lempt and say you don't even get killed? They just like end up raiding your house because you have a gun you're not supposed to have. And meanwhile,
Yeah.
you got the Second Amendment, which you of course you should be able to own a pistol or whatever. But you know, like, you know, what if they raid you and then you get like I think it's like a 5-year mandatory minimum or something, some bullshit like that. I don't know.
Well, then I guess you're going to jail.
I mean, like, you know,
I
5 minutes would be too long for executing your natural right.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
100% agree. But I mean that's what, you know, states like New Germany and where you guys live, fucking California, it's all the same freaking, I'd hate to even play identity politics, but Democrat bullshit. That's where
No,
most
it
of these
is. It's
laws
true.
are coming from.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
surprised we're still allowed to own guns in Maryland because the Democrats control the legislature. You know, we have a Republican governor, which is a total anomaly, but he
Yeah,
acts like a Democrat.
he's functionally a Democrat. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he's
yeah, pretty much.
He just
New
convinced
Jersey
all the
state-
rednecks out west to vote for him. But
Yeah, it's like the only reason we got a Republican governor was because like the Democrats, they picked this like
We're so bad.
this total communist candidate. He was like
yeah, that's
so
right.
bad. He
So,
was just like
an
he was
AOC
fucking
type?
he was worse probably. He was
Yeah.
like light years to the left of your average Democrat, to where
Yeah.
like the Republicans were able to run a pretty I guess it's like liberal progressive
I mean,
Republican.
they pretty much just
And-
ran like a centrist platform.
Well,
And this guy
was,
just sounded like a
Matt,
total lunatic, which he was.
Matt, that was his re-election. His initial
Oh yeah, that
election
was re-election.
was his initial election was coming after 8 years of fucking O'Malley,
Yeah.
who ran what? No, he ran.
He did run for president.
I think Ed's phone's
He did.
It is.
Dude, he
Yeah,
did
yeah,
run.
Ed, it sounds like you're walking through the fucking Death Star.
Yeah.
It was like whoop.
Yeah. No, people were
Sorry.
mad at O'Malley because he raised taxes so many times that even
Yeah.
Democrats were like, geez, dude,
Yeah.
enough.
Dude,
He also was responsible
basically
for all the
initiated-
cameras. He was responsible
Right.
for all the red light cameras.
As
Really?
Baltimore
Oh my
mayor,
God.
when he was mayor of Baltimore, he basically initiated like basically equivalent to stop and frisk.
Yeah.
So the incarceration rate in Baltimore City like skyrocketed. It was awful.
Well, the
He was
whole
like,
show,
whatever.
The whole show, The Wire, is basically
was
built
under
around him.
his tenure.
Yeah.
Was like basically watch The Wire and look at Baltimore at its fucking worst, and then it's like, who is the mayor? Oh, Martin O'Malley. And it was like
Yeah.
8 years of this asshole. Like, remember he fired fucking oh damn, he's got a radio show. He's on the sports talk radio
Oh,
in
Ed
Baltimore
Norris?
now.
Ed Norris.
Ed Norris, who was the chief of police of Baltimore City, they fired it. Like he and then it was like all like trumped up charges, and he was like eventually found. And like, dude, he was corrupt to the core. And then he's governor for 8 years. Like Kyle
Yeah.
says, raises taxes. Like you said, Jared, he basically put speed cameras fucking everywhere. And then it's
He
just
did like the rainwater tax, right?
rain
rainwater. He
tax,
did
yeah.
the fucking rain tax. Like we're gonna
Yeah.
tax the amount
Com-
to
Comrade
offset.
Murphy did the same thing here, man. A fucking rainwater.
Yeah.
account.
to offset the pollution going into the bay, he was going to tax your square footage of your fucking your whatever square footage of your property of quote impervious surfaces. He was going to tax you for, and it went through. And so, dude, then the motherfucker runs for president.
Well, look, no more trash in the bay, right? No more trash in the bay,
but dude, remember it was Hillary, Bernie, and
Martin O'Malley.
Him and Martin O'Malley. Martin O'Malley couldn't even get 1 goddamn %, right? Kyle, check the docs on that. But I swear
that's about right.
In his own fucking homes, mayor of Baltimore for 8 years, ran the city into the fucking ground, and then basically just fucking screwed the state for 8 years. And that's oh, I'm gonna run for president, and gets less than 1 fucking % in your home state.
Same thing happened to Cory Booker here in New Jersey when he was in the primary. He couldn't fucking get more than 2-3% in New Jersey for the primaries.
Dude,
I was surprised at that. I thought Booker was going to do a lot better than he did.
Dude, he is he's a fucking moron. He conned everybody, man. Newark has not gotten a shred better since that fucker took office. If anything, it's gotten worse.
Dude, eventually these con men are exposed, and they're media darlings and they're whatever. But then after a while, it's just the longer these assholes are in office, and the more it's just yeah, Jesus, they're terrible. I mean, it's so crazy.
It's crazy how they're able to fail upwards in some cases. Like O'Malley.
Upwards, yeah.
It's like O'Malley, you presided over some of the worst years of Baltimore City history. Here, have the governorship. It's like
I
what
wish
the
I
fuck,
could
dude?
fuck up that much at my job and not get fucked.
It's like Jimmy Kimmel, Jimmy Fallon, fucking
You almost got Sheila Dixon again in Baltimore, Alex.
Right?
Oh yeah,
I know, right? Exactly. I think
I don't know anything about this new guy.
I think what happens is the problem is it takes years. Initially, everything's all hunky dory, but then after a while, these status fucking policies and overreaching policies, it takes months, years for it to come, to feel the effects. But by then, they're just failing upwards. You know what I mean? It's they can they can only spin things for so long.
It just always seems bad to me. It's not like the new mayor inherits something that's going great. I mean, Baltimore City, the murder rate runs at about 350 a year. The shootings are over 1,000 a year. So it's not like the new mayor's coming into something good. But he probably isn't going to change anything, and probably nothing's gonna change. We'll see.
Dude, speaking of corruption, the former mayor, Catherine Pugh, reported to federal prison a couple days ago.
Oh wow!
She's serving a 3-year sentence.
Yeah, this is all Baltimore local news, but for the listeners,
so for those,
Baltimore's mayor is just a constant circus of clowns. And we had this woman who she wrote a children's book, and then she had made all these deals.
Do you think it's different anywhere else?
I think Baltimore's especially
I'm
bad,
sure there's some places where the mayor's just whatever,
Yeah.
There was just this mayor who got busted for election fraud in Patterson here. 3 of them were just arrested.
Wow.
Yeah, mail-in voter fraud. Funny enough.
I'm just saying. Well, typically the people
wow.
Typically the people that go in for power are typically some of the skeeziest people, and they're typically the last people that you would ever want in power if you're going to have power.
That's what I mean.
I think we would do better picking random bastards out of the phone book.
No, seriously.
No, absolutely.
That's the thing.
Well, yeah, it's a self-selecting position where it's I don't want somebody who wants this position.
Right.
I mean, I don't want the position at all, anyways. But what's that?
Doesn't Google have an algorithm for this shit? Who could pick better people?
Right.
Got an algorithm for everything else.
I wouldn't let Google pick shit though.
It was George Carlin. In his one stand-up was talking about what would be a great campaign slogan? The people suck. You know what I mean? It's he's who keeps electing these same individuals? You know what I mean? It's the people,
Yeah.
But you can't actually run a campaign like Democrats or Republicans suck. It's like, hey, maybe the people suck. You know, maybe it's just fuck. Like, I don't know. I digress.
The best we can do is give them a
Not
better
really
option.
winning political slogan. Yeah.
You know, a lot of libertarians think, well, it's just wrong to seek power, or it's wrong to seek office, and as a movement, like that's what we have to do to actually get these Democrats and Republicans out. Is we have to compete with them, and we have to actually win. It's not easy.
I guess the
but-
exception is if you just seek it on the grounds of like, you know, spreading a message, like Ron Paul or whatever, you know.
Yeah,
Philosophic.
why not want to win? I mean, you know, I'm not
Well,
running
okay,
for
maybe-
office, but if I was, I would want to win, and then I would want to change things for the better. You know, there's a lot of libertarian ideas that would really help Baltimore City and would help Maryland and the economy
Yeah.
and everything else. I'd love to be in a
Kyle for
position
mayor.
to implement these things.
Kyle, why aren't you running for mayor, dude?
I
Just
don't know.
gotta move to the city.
Why don't you start knocking on doors in West Baltimore, dude?
Yeah, in the city for whatever reason, you have to run as a Democrat, and then you have to somehow get out of the Democratic primary. And I don't know if it's possible to do that. Honestly, as somebody who's opposed to public unions and not, you know, you gotta be in with the right people to be successful, I think. So
Yeah,
but-
it's definitely I don't want to say it's an old boys club or whatever, but it's a club.
It's
You're
definitely
not
a
in
club. Yeah. And I don't
ain't
live
in
in the city limits, so you know, I'm in the county. The best I could do would be run for a county executive. And even that, it's like it's a
You gotta
club,
spend
man.
so much money yeah, dude. It's like, I don't know. That's why I'm just, I don't know, boogaloo. What?
You do have to spend a lot of money, but like I don't know. Like you could run first, you have to get through the primary, and then you know, if people like you, you can still win. The candidate with the larger bank account doesn't necessarily win. That's
Yeah, didn't work out for
I-
Ben.
I think it's usually the candidate with the biggest of igloos.
Yes.
anyway. You guys want to talk about this Spike Cohen video?
Yeah, let's fucking do it.
I don't know,
Yeah.
dude. I don't know if I do want to talk about that video anymore, Kyle.
Or you want to talk about the noose?
No, I want to talk about the Spike Cohen video first.
All right. So just to give some backstory, the LP had some controversy because there was a video released for Joe Jorgensen's campaign that was like I would say it was pro BLM, kind of pro civil rights. It was very in your face, and I guess the campaign didn't agree with it or didn't like the way it was presented. They took the video down and they let go the guy who produced it, the videographer. And anyway, so there's some people that are upset, you know, especially because the video was, I thought, pretty radical. So I think that people would feel like, oh, maybe she's taking a more conservative approach, and we need this kind of in-your-face messaging. But anyway, that's about as much as I know about it. I heard that Jess Mears is going to replace the guy who was let go. And Jess is very popular in the Libertarian Party, so
Yeah, but like, can she make videos? And this was a good video. Usually, when the libertarians get involved in like technology and stuff, it looks like shit from like the fucking like 20 years ago or something.
This
And-
was a very well done video. Like,
Yeah,
this was
exactly.
Great post editing. Like the message was like, you know, concise. It was to the point. Like, yeah, they added the BLM thing, and I can see where it kind of like made people about it because, you know, like co-founders saying they're trained Marxists and all. But I mean, like saying Black Lives Matter doesn't necessarily mean you support that organization. It could just mean you support Black people. which
Yeah, right.
You
No,
should do.
yeah, I don't know. Like, I thought it was like a really powerful video. The only thing I can imagine, the only reason why they would pull it is because maybe they thought it was like a bit too intense. And it's like that's the thing with the pragmatic libertarians.
No,
It's-
Yeah, dude.
like- Like the pragmatic libertarians, it seems like they always want to do things like the Republicans and like the Democrats. And it's just like
Dude, fuck that, man.
Yeah,
That's
no,
the thing.
Point that we're-
yes,
isn't the whole point that we're
not
different?
supposed to be like them. We're supposed to be like better than them, not the
Dude, fuck
same.
them. That's exactly it. Yeah.
Right, and that video was better than them, and that shit was pulled, and that dude is obviously talented as fuck, dude. And then like I can't help but think that the next video is gonna be some total yawn fest.
Yeah,
You know?
and it shows you the divide really between Joe Jorgensen and Spike Cohen, right? I always thought Spike was the more, first of all, he's an open anarchist.
Well,
but he's
I don't
more
know that he's
radical.
fully Joe though.
Huh?
I don't know that the divide is really Joe. It might be the people that are breathing down her neck about getting
we don't know.
big money donors.
I would
we're
think that this
speculating.
happened. She had a say in it, and I do see a difference between the two of them in their messaging and their radicalness. She's definitely more buttoned up, more conservative in her approach. So it wouldn't surprise me at all if this is actually a reflection of the difference between.
Yeah, but if it went up on her Facebook, I mean, was she not aware of it and then became aware and was like, oh, take this down immediately?
Well, we don't know.
It sounds like somebody called.
Yeah, exactly.
Somebody
That's what it
called
sounds
into
like to me, too.
headquarters. It was like, I am giving you, I gave you $20,000.
Yeah, like Bill Weld called in a favor and had it removed.
Dude, honestly,
like
that's the thing,
it's
dude.
always like big
When they get
donors
these
that are
big
so
money, that
so
get
impactful
fucking-
for these people. Where
That's
it's like
the problem, dude. And that, Jared, exactly.
we just need some fucking like anarchists with like millions and millions of dollars to just fucking be like, look, I'll pay for everything.
Yeah, right.
You know?
We needed
give
a
a
fucking
fuck.
shock message like that,
Yeah.
man. Like people
Shit,
need
yeah.
to wake up.
Yeah,
Dude,
like,
that's
I think the
exactly what
Libertarian
Matt-
Party needs an anarchist sugar daddy.
That's what I'm
Exactly.
saying, dude.
Yeah.
Good title, by the way, Anarchist Sugar.
Anarchist sugar daddy. Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Anarchist
dude.
sugar daddy.
Yeah, I could see
Um,
the BLM section being a problem for some people just because that's such a polarizing organization, and especially because it tends to be left leaning. So maybe
Yeah, but
that was part of it.
wasn't their whole idea to like capture like isn't there that whole SJW thread in this party now where it's like, well, we need to appeal to these people. Like, why would
Yeah.
they be upset about that? You know?
Well, it wasn't
No,
those
I
people who
think
would
we
be
need
upset
to
about it.
appeal to non-voters. That's what we need to appeal
Boom.
for.
Well,
It
yeah.
was
Exactly,
more
Ed,
non-voters than
exactly.
people who voted for Trump or Clinton by like almost 30 million people.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But if they don't vote, they're not going to help you. They're not going to vote.
But see, if you appeal to
Well,
the
you're convincing
non-voter
them
and
to vote.
convince them to vote, then
with
you
a
know.
very strong message, like that's the thing. Like,
yeah, that's what you need. The eye-opening
going back
message
to that-
to these non-voting people.
Yeah, you got to
How
give them the
many-
shocker.
in one
Yeah.
day, in one day, Matt, you were saying like what was the video at before the campaign was like,
Okay, so-
nah.
So I'm going by Nicholas Picone numbers. Okay,
Nikki P.
Nikki
Docs.
P. Nikki Penis. Yeah, no, Nick Picone, who rocks, who fucking rules. Anyways,
Yeah.
so like this is the other night, and I was like fucking drunk and blazed. So I don't know, but I think he said something
Just
like
any-
got like
any-
day of the week.
yeah, like I think he said that this is like yeah. Anyways, I think he said they threw this video up on like Facebook or something, and it got I believe it was like I think he said it was like 250,000 views in one day or something crazy.
That's insane.
Yeah, and then
Right.
and then they took it down, which would be more insane.
Yeah.
You know,
Right. Imagine
and then-
one of our videos, our podcast getting like 250,000 views.
like
And
if I ever
then
took
like,
that down-
Take it down. Take
No.
it down.
Dude, if I take that down, you come to my house and you fucking drag me to the street and you beat me the fuck up.
You know, funny enough, I've only posted one video on YouTube, and it actually ended up getting 1.5 million views.
Wow,
Damn,
that's
dude.
crazy. What was
Yeah,
the
and-
video about?
It was about when like the Hunterdon County Sheriff's Investigative Unit and like 6 state troopers showed up to my house because they had an arrest warrant for my brother because he for violation of probation, and they wanted to come inside the house and search my fucking house and wanted me to give them ID and shit, and I basically, in the most sarcastic yet polite way, basically told them to go fuck themselves.
Okay, so question: can you share this video in the comments of this
Absolutely.
post?
Absolutely. You guys will get a kick out of it.
Yeah,
it was
maybe
funny.
send it
It
to
was-
maybe
after
send it to
a
our group chat on Facebook.
All right, yeah, it was funny,
Yeah.
a little banter back and forth, and then they eventually fucking left, and it was like, yep.
Well, they didn't have a warrant, right?
No, they didn't have a warrant to search the house, and they thought that I was dumb enough to not know the difference between a search warrant and an arrest warrant. They
I
thought
watch a
wrong.
lot of crime shows, and they always like take their people in to interview them, and none of them ever ask for a lawyer. They're like, "You have the right to remain silent, and you have a right to an attorney." And they're like, "So tell us what happened." And the guy's always like, "All right, I'll tell you everything that happened." Like they never shut up and ask for a lawyer. It's crazy.
There's never that. There's never the Chappelle that's like so many amendments to the Constitution. 1, 2, 3, 4. Fifth. You know?
See, that's
There's
the dumb.
never that like shut the fuck up. Fifth.
Yeah, but
It's
Kyle, is
always
that like the dumb shit like NBC shows that you're watching?
yeah,
I don't
like
know
all those
what
crime
channel it's
shows,
on.
all
Yeah,
It's
those
all
are training
different.
you. Those are probably, this is a little
Training you to be
conspiratorial.
sheep.
This is more of an Alex take, but maybe they're training you to be fucking dumb sheep and just like, because like you watch The Wire, like they fucking they take them in. They're like lawyer,
Yeah.
like it's realistic. Like this is what people do.
Yeah.
You know?
In
The
these shows,
mainstream-
and these are not scripted. I mean, this is like actual real interview.
Oh,
footage.
this is real.
Yeah,
Oh,
these are
oh,
these
oh.
are like crime shows that actually show their documentary kind of,
Oh, okay.
and they
All
always
right.
have
Yeah,
the
but the-
interview footage.
Well, that's
But
public education for you.
Exactly.
they
That's
want
public
you to comply.
education, and that's indoctrination of like all these like TV crime shows. You know, the CSI and all the
Yeah.
fucking NCIS, and then it's like every other fucking city and Cops. Like just recently, right? Like Cops is done.
Oh
How
yeah,
many
Cops is off
years-
the air.
How
Yeah.
many years? Like basically, we're talking like probably 2 generations.
I remember, yeah, it's got to be
It
like 30
started
years.
in the
Right?
early 80s, I
Yeah,
think.
I would think 30 years. I would think like 1989. Let's look this
Yeah,
up.
dude.
I think it
Okay,
was
I'll-
89. I just saw that, but yeah,
I
I
think
think
1989.
even if
So-
you're innocent, you want to ask for a lawyer, right? Because
Yeah.
those cops are trying to trick you. They
exactly.
don't care if you're innocent. I mean, they're trying to make a bust.
No,
And,
they're not. They are not your friends.
They're not your friends. That's right.
You're not
Yeah.
my
And
friend, guy.
you
You're
always
not
want
my
that
guy.
lawyer.
buddy.
Yeah.
No, seriously, that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to pump their numbers up because that's based on their numbers.
Because
are
they're rookie
directly-
numbers.
Exactly. So to go from rookie to promotion, you got to get those numbers up. So it doesn't matter whether it's a good arrest or a bad arrest or some dum just spilled the beans or whatever.
Yeah.
An arrest on
Yeah.
paper. An arrest on paper.
Exactly. That's all that matters. So they don't give a fuck. So they're going to do whatever they can to get you in those handcuffs.
Yep.
So, and they will lie. So it's better just to, what's that law firm out in, they're out in California and they got like shut the fuck up Fridays.
I
Like
love
these
that
Jewish-
video. I
those
love
two
that
Jewish
video.
guys.
Yeah,
Those
is
guys are like,
it the Pod Brothers Attorneys at Law or something?
yeah. They're like, what
Yeah,
happens if
I
you
think
get,
so.
they're like, you shut the fuck up. They're like, what happens if, yeah, they just
That-
break it
it-
down.
That's
In the
awesome.
shows I'm watching, the guys are almost always guilty. So it's you
Well,
know, it,
yeah.
Yeah, but they shouldn't make their jobs that easy.
that's right. Make it a little harder
Yeah.
for the
Make them
cops.
work.
Make them earn our tax dollars. God damn it.
Right.
This isn't on the board, but I did hear Trump is talking about bringing troops out of Germany. And
By the way, Cops was 1989.
89.
call,
God
man.
damn.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
just this past year they canceled it.
Fireworks
it's
have
done.
started, by the way.
Nice, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Jared.
it's canceled.
So wait, they're pulling troops out of Germany.
yeah,
our
well,
troops?
Trump.
Dude, how are we
either
gonna
made a
fight the
tweet-
Nazis?
Trump either made a tweet about it or has been talking about it, and I heard somebody on the radio who was all upset. You know,
How could you be upset
It's
about
why?
that?
Is there a war going on in Germany? What the fuck are our troops doing?
no
Is it fucking
idea, man.
1983? Like what?
Right?
Guy was like going on and on
1983.
about
I
it.
mean, yeah, it's like fucking. Okay, so what? Like World War II ended in what? Like
Well, I was
that
thinking
like
the Cold War,
1945?
but I guess
War
technically not a hot
45?
war.
The
Yeah,
guy
so
was trying to make the case this is going to
1945.
cost us more money.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm like, how is this going to cost us more money? You know, I mean, even if they're on a base in the United States, I don't see how it costs us more money. I
Dude,
don't know.
Yeah,
World War
dude, I
II
think
ended
something-
70.
something's
World War
happening,
II
guys.
ended 75 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's no reason for us
Think
to
about
be in
that.
Germany.
All right.
They can take you
75
down.
years ago.
Do you guys think there's
70
a financial reset? Like there's like shit going on. I think they're pulling the troop. The empire's collapsing.
Could be.
The empire's
I
collapsing.
I don't think so yet. Like if it was happening, we wouldn't have
No,
to be like,
no.
is it
but
happening?
Cobb, think about it, right? They're
Yeah, okay,
talking
hear me out,
stimulus
dude.
2 right now. They're
Okay,
talking
okay.
stimulus 2, all the COVID shit. I think
Stimulus
finally
2.0?
maybe. Yeah, I think finally maybe. Now, look, I'm not giving Orange Man, I'll give him credit where credit's due, but I honestly think that he's not coming at it from a principled standpoint, but I think from a financial standpoint, I think they're basically like,
what a surprise.
He's not coming at it from a principled, like, why the fuck do we have bases over in Germany? Like, it's been what?
Yeah, he's businessmanning.
You have like 100,000 troops over there. I mean, it's crazy.
Right. So
yeah,
he's looking at it
we
from
don't even need fucking 1,000 troops over there, let alone that many. Like,
dude, I was stationed.
Wow.
I was stationed in England from 2004 to 2006, dude. There was like, when I was stationed over there, was 146,000 Americans amongst these 3 major bases within a couple miles. And in Germany, there's multiple Army and Air Force bases, and it was crazy. Just the other day,
how big is the population in Germany?
Fuck, I don't know, man. But we're talking like when I was over in England, there was like over like it was almost close to like 100,000 Americans, or maybe over 100,000 Americans. Now that's not all military, but we're talking like family, kids, contractors, etc. We're talking within a couple, like maybe like a 10-20 mile radius. And then that's England. Then you have like Germany, there's multiple Air Force bases, multiple Army bases. You have like Department of Defense, contracting jobs. You have like basically, and the other aspect too is a lot of these bases overseas are little fucking Americas. You have like a movie theater, you have a golf course, you have like, that's fucking insane. It's been there since the Cold War. We've been over in Europe since, we basically maintained bases since World War II. And then kept those bases in the guise of the fucking, the Cold War, that, we might get in a hot war with communist Russia. But what? The wall fell, what, 89, 91, 92? The collapse of the Soviet Union, 91? I don't know.
Something like that.
91,
Yeah, I mean, shit, I was 11 years old, but yet we still have fucking bases over there?
This says it's 35,000, so I was overstating it. But still,
it says 40,000 members of the U.S. military and 15,000 civilian employees of
you got to
American
justify
citizenship.
that overinflated military budget somehow, I guess.
Right.
So there's something called the Kaiserslautern, which in the
Yeah,
1950s became the largest U.S. military community outside of the United States.
Yeah.
Huh.
Dude, there's two bases. You have Ramstein and then you have Spangalum. And
wait, really, Ramstein?
Yeah, it's called Ramstein, like the band.
Yeah.
It's called Ramstein Air Force Base. And here's the other fucked up. Here's a little trivia too. They have a major hospital at Ramstein. It's almost like, and it was crazy that we're discussing this because literally just 2 days ago, I was down at the gas station, like a block down the street from my house. And like, well, you guys all know where I live, but Ed, like I literally live like a couple blocks from the Port of Baltimore. So like when I got my car shipped from overseas, when I was in the Air Force, it came through the Port of Baltimore. So I'm getting I'm filling up gas, and this guy came up pulling up to me. And he has a Volkswagen Jetta, and I'm like shooting the shit with him. And it was just like young black dude, but I saw like on the side of his like Jetta, he had like a European style like plate. And then on the side, it had all these stickers like Port of Baltimore, and then he had like temporary plate. And then I was like, "Oh, did you just get your car shipped over?" And he's like, "Oh yeah, my wife and I are picking up our car. We're both in the military. We were stationed over in Germany." Like, dude, this was just 2 fucking days ago. I shit you not. And I didn't get into too much of the weeds, but I was like, "Oh yeah, when I was in the Air Force, I shipped my car to Baltimore." Like, and we were just shooting the shit, just kind of kept it light, just like, "Hey, whatever, what the fuck, hey." And I was like, "Where are you stationed?" He's like, "Oh, I'm gonna go down to Walter Reed." And Walter Reed's like one of the major hospitals. And there's a big hospital in Germany at Ramstein Air Force Base. So like we were just shooting the shit. We kept it light, but that just goes to show like they're closing shit. Like they're dropping the amount of people stationed over there. And but the fucked up statistic was during like the Iraq war and Afghanistan, if you get medevaced out and you're considered stable, like leaving Iraq, or not so much Afghanistan, but more Iraq, if you were like left the theater of Iraq and you were stable, but you were out of Iraq, you weren't counted as a KIA. You know what I mean? So like if you landed at Ramstein Air Force Base, which is like the largest military hospital outside of like, I don't know, it might not be the largest, but it's like basically like a Walter Reed over in like Germany. You know what I mean?
So if you were in like critical condition in the air,
yeah,
like
if
you die there, they wouldn't count
and you land in Germany and you die in the ICU, you're not counted as a death in the field in Iraq. So imagine how much more deaths. Imagine how many more Americans died. You know what I'm saying? Like it's fucked up. But that's
it's like messing with the murder statistics.
Exactly. Like it's like because it was like the most advanced hospital. Like it basically was like a Walter Reed, so it made sense. Where I'm talking to this dude at the gas station, he's just like, "Oh yeah, like my wife and I just got transferred. Like, you know, we're gonna be living in Silver Spring, like outside DC. We're gonna be at Walter Reed." And it's like, yeah, because guess what? These bases are fucking. The empire's collapsing, and it's not because I think the current president has like a philosophical.
Do you think it's permanent though, or do you think it's just like, all right, times are tough in the COVID hours? It's real COVID hours out here.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, Jared. I don't know if it's permanent, but I definitely think they're like writing's on the wall.
I mean, hopefully we can get this amount of like. So like we've got a lot of cop hate going on, which is good, but like I hope we can somehow get something like that going with the military or with wars, you know?
Yeah.
Like if we can channel that kind of energy into like a multi-group, like
so you want people to like hate the military, or like what are you saying?
No, I'm not saying.
Okay. I guys, we're totally out of time, so we're gonna take this spicy ass conversation.
You're gonna leave off with that.
We're gonna take this spicy ass conversation about Jared hating your freedoms, like on over to the After Hours program. And if you want to gain access to the After Hours program, you can hit us up at patreon.com/punk rock libertarians. And if your cheap ass contributes a minimum of $1 per month, you will gain access to the After Hours program, and you will be able to like help keep the lights on in Anarchy Basement. This podcast is brought to you in part by Conversations About Freedom podcast, hosted by Moral Bob. Alexis, what the fuck do you want?
Oh, I was just gonna say, Ed, plug that charity that you donated your locks to again for the listeners that might want to donate their, you know.
Yeah, the charity's called Wigs for Kids. It's a nonprofit organization that you donate your hair to be turned into wigs for kids with cancer. It's a pretty cool thing to do if you're interested.
Oh yeah.
Hey, Ed, can you post a picture of your hair before you cut it in the comments here so people can see it?
Absolutely. I got a good one that I'll post for you guys.
Sweet.
Nice.
Okay, guys. And then we've also got t-shirts over at libertariancountry.com. And if you type in the code PRL, you'll receive a 10% discount. If you spend $50 or more and you use the code PRL2, you'll receive a 20% discount. Until next time, live